On March 21, 2024, walked out of his house in a quiet seaside town in South Africa. The day before, regulators had fined him $50 million. Court cases in 3 countries were closing in. Millions of ordinary people had lost their retirement savings because of him. That afternoon, a gunshot was heard. Markus Jooste, CEO of the biggest furniture empire you've never heard of, was dead at 63. And the full story of what he did, it's worse than you think. Steinhoff International, it sounds boring, that was the point. It was a furniture and retail conglomerate. Think IKEA meets Walmart, built across 30 countries. They owned Mattress Firm in America, Poundland in the UK. And the man running all of it was Markus Jooste, a chartered accountant from South Africa, Conforama in France, sharp, charming, obsessed with racehorses and power. By 2016, Steinhoff was worth $22 billion. Jooste was reported to be one of Africa's richest people, worth $400 million. VCI institute Goldman Sachs was lending him money. JPMorgan, Bank of America, Citigroup, the smartest banks in the world. Everyone trusted Markus Jooste. But here's what nobody knew. Behind the scenes, Steinhoff was already scrambling, trying to convince its auditor Deloitte to sign off on accounts that spelled out what investigators would later call an epic swindle. Cornell SC Johnson. For years, Jooste had been running a parallel financial reality. Fake companies, fictional transactions, profits that didn't exist. A complex scheme of intercompany loans and asset transfers used to inflate the company's profits and make its financial statements look more favorable. India House Foundation. The question his own board later asked was devastating. If Steinhoff is this big profitable business, why did nobody ask where the cash was? Why did the cash balance never grow but its debts increased all the time? Cornell SC Johnson. Nobody asked, because nobody wanted to. And then came the move that crossed every line. In 2017, days before the collapse, Jooste privately warned 4 close friends that Steinhoff's share price was about to implode. 3 of them immediately sold their shares to avoid losses. DARP and Saxena. The ordinary shareholders, the pension funds, they got no warning. On December 5, 2017, Jooste resigned without explanation. Within 2 days, the share price had plunged from R46 to R10, VC Institute, and then it kept falling. The Steinhoff crash wiped more than $200 billion off the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, erasing more than half the wealth of South Africa's richest tycoon, Christo Wiese, and obliterating the pension funds of millions of ordinary South Africans. KTPL, teachers, nurses, government workers. People who had worked their entire lives woke up one morning and their retirement was gone. Investigations launched across 3 continents. Artificial transactions had allegedly been used to manipulate balance sheets by more than $1.5 billion. Carnegie Endowment. Jooste fled the country. For years he hid in plain sight, attending horse racing events, living lavishly. Then the walls closed in. By 2024, regulators had built an airtight case. On March 20th, they fined him the equivalent of $50 million, one of the largest financial penalties in South African history. The next morning, Markus Jooste drove to the cliffs of Hermanus. He never came back. Here's what makes this story different from all the others. Enron's executives went to prison. FTX's Sam Bankman-Fried is serving 25 years. But Markus Jooste, the man behind Europe's biggest corporate fraud court, never spent a single day in. He faked billions in profits. He warned his friends before the crash. He watched millions of people lose everything. And his final act was to make sure he'd never have to answer for any of it. The money is still missing. The victims are still waiting. And in a quiet town by the sea, the most dangerous man in global business history simply walked away.